Hello kitty queens and kitty beauty teas. I'm back with another client tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to get this soft glam beat, so if you're interested, just sit back and keep watching. As you can see, I'm just starting this tutorial off by cleaning my model's face, and to clean her face I'm using some micellar water on a cotton pad. Once I have it all clean, I'm just going to go ahead and moisturize her skin, and to moisturize her face I'm using my Pond's moisturizer. Once her face is fully moisturized, I'm going to go ahead and start on her eyebrows. I like to use my Nicka K eyebrow pencils, and to outline her brows, I'm using the shade Black. Since I'm using the shade Black to outline and fill in her brows, I try to make sure I'm as light-handed as possible because I don't want her brows to come off as too dark or too harsh. Once I have her brows filled in, I'm going to take the spoolie end of the pencil and just brush them out just to break down some of that product. Then I'm going to proceed to fill in any sparse areas and go over them again with the spoolie. Now I'm basically following the same process on the other eyebrow. Sorry for this angle, y'all. It gets better on in the tutorial, but I'm just filling in her brows. Now for the front of her brows, I'm taking a lighter Nicka K pencil. I believe this one is in the shade light brown or dark brown, one of the two, but I'm using it at the front of her eyebrows just so they can have that nice ombre effect. To clean up her eyebrows, I'm going to be using my LA Girl Pro Concealer along with my Nicka K Concealer. Shade names are on the screen, but first I'm going in with my Nicka K Concealer, and I'm going to be using it to clean up underneath her brows just because it's lighter and I like to have that highlighted look underneath the brows, you know. Once I have a crease line at the bottom, I just like to drag that concealer down, and then I'm just going to proceed to clean up the top of her brows. So now I'm taking that LA Girl Pro Concealer and I'm just using it to clean up the top. And I like to use a darker concealer just because it'll make it easier to blend into her foundation once we get to that part. But anyway, once the eyebrows are all cleaned up, I'm going to buff out the excess concealer. For an eyeshadow base, I'm going to be using my Bperfect eyeshadow primer, and as you can see, I'm just dotting this all over her lids. And once I have her eyes fully covered, I'm going to go in and buff out this product using the same buffing brush that I used to buff out her eyebrows. I told y'all in another tutorial that I'm not really a fan of this product. I'm basically only using it because I have it, but if you don't have it, I recommend that you use some e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the matte one, as an eyeshadow base. I love that. It's like the best alternative that I can give y'all. But as you can see, I have her lids fully covered and ready to be eyeshadowed down. Okay, so for the palette of today's video, I'm going to be going in with my Technic palette, and I'm taking this brown shade out of it right here, and I'm applying it to her eye using this fluffy brush. First I'm going to apply it to the edge of her eye, and as I continue to pack it on, I'm going to make my way towards the front of her eyebrows. I'm basically only going to be using 2 eyeshadows for this look, so it's very beginner friendly. Once I have this color packed on, I'm just going to swirl my brush around the edges just to further blend them out. Now I'm taking one of my Fit Me pressed powders. I believe this one was in the shade Mocha, and I'm just going to be sweeping it underneath her brows to set the concealer in place and to further blend out the edge of that first eyeshadow that we use. I'm going to be taking a little bit more of that Bperfect base and just applying it to her lids. This step is optional. I like to do this so whatever eyeshadow that I apply to her lids is more pigmented, but you really don't have to do this. Now I'm just buffing it out with that same buffing brush I've been using for the whole tutorial. And since this is a no-cut crease look, it doesn't have to be neat at all. It just has to be well blended. So make sure you take your time with this step and really blend out the edges. To set her lids, I'm taking a matte white eyeshadow. This one is from my Fantasy palette, and as you can see, I'm just packing it on her eyes using this dense fluffy brush. I'm packing it everywhere that we applied the base, and like I said earlier, this is a no-cut crease look, so it does not have to be neat whatsoever. Once I have this color packed on, I'm going to be going over the edges of it with the first shade that we use just to make sure everything is blended. Decided that I wanted to do a wing for this eyeshadow look, so to line her eyes, I'm using my Nicka K black matte liquid liner. You can find this at your local beauty supply store, and I'm using my e.l.f. liquid liner applicator just so I can get it as sharp and as crisp as I possibly can. Once I have both of her wings drawn on to my liking, I'm just going to be moving on to the face routine. So I ended up wiping all of the excess eyeshadow from her face off camera. Now I'm just going in and I'm priming her face. And to prime her face, I'm using the e.l.f. Matte and Poreless Putty Primer. I believe that's what it's called. And I'm just spreading it around her face using this flat brush. Before I move on to any more face products, I decided to go ahead and apply her lashes, and I bought these lashes off Aliexpress. That's where I get all of my lashes, and I cut them to fit her eye off camera. You want to make sure you do this with all of your clients just so they don't have that annoying piece in the corner of their eye stabbing them all day. That'll make them want to wipe the makeup right off. So make sure you cut the lashes to fit their eye. Before I get into the foundation routine, I'm just going to be adding a little bit of calamine lotion into the inner portions of her face. Basically everywhere that I would expect to get excessively oily, that's where I'm putting the calamine lotion. And my girl was going out, okay, so I had to make sure this was going to last, period. Now I'm about to step into the foundation routine. For her foundation, I took 2 shades, and the first shade that I'm going to be going in with is the shade 368, and the name of that shade is Deep Golden. And I'm just going to take this shade around the perimeter of her face. Now I'm going to be taking the shade 338, which is the color Spicy Brown, and I'm going to be working this into the inner portions of her face. Basically, everywhere you would normally highlight, that's where I'm going to put this foundation. I like to use whatever excess foundation is left on the brush and use it to clean up the edge of my liner / my eyeshadow. I like to use foundation instead of concealer because it's easier to blend. Now I'm going to spray her face, and in my defense, y'all, I told her to stop talking. She didn't stop talking, so that was her fault. But I sprayed her face with some setting spray, and now I'm just blending it out using this Real Techniques brush. Before I begin to highlight her face, I'm going to go over it once again with my Real Technique sponge just to make sure everything is in place and stamped into her skin properly. To highlight her face, I'm going to be taking these 2 shades of my Nicka K concealer. First, I'm going in with the shade number 10, and as y'all can see, it's pretty dark, and it has a lot of orange undertones, but I was using this because it was easier to blend in with her foundation. So I'm taking this shade first, and then to tone down the orange a little bit, I decided to go on top of it with shade number 9. I'm going to make sure I carve out the edge of her nose with this concealer as well, just because that'll make it easier to contour once we get to that step. To blend everything out, I'm going to be going in with another brush from Real Techniques. As you can see, this is like a flat brush. I believe this is one of their powder brushes if I'm not mistaken, but I really recommend Real Techniques for any type of face application brushes. I feel like they have the best affordable ones out, and you can find them at your drugstore. So now that I have her highlight all blended, I'm going to be going in and contouring her face. So to contour her face, I'm using a foundation stick from Julia's Place. This one is in the one Catsina. As you can see, I decided to apply the contour shade to her nose first, and I just took a small eyeshadow brush to do so. Now I'm applying it to her face, right at where her cheekbones are, and I'm just dotting this on there, and I'm going to be blending it out using that same brush that I used to blend out her foundation, just so everything can appear seamless. Before I move on to another side, I'm just going to be going over this with my Real Technique sponge to further blend it out. To set her highlighted areas in place, I'm going to be going in with my Fenty loose powder, and this one is in the shade Honey. I normally go in with my Fit Me pressed powder, but unfortunately by the time I had shot this video, I had ran out and didn't have time to pick up any more. So I'm just going to be using this loose powder to set all of her highlighted areas. As you can see, my first application, I'm only going in with a small amount. I don't want to cake it on, and I'm just pressing it into her skin to mattify it. And once I have it all mattified, I'm going to be going in with the second layer to sit on her face and keep her matte throughout the day. To set the contoured areas of her face, I'm going to be going in with this black radiance pressed powder in the shade Rich Mahogany. And I just want y'all to see what I go through. Like, look at this. Why is she like this? But anyway, I'm just stepping this into her skin using this fluffy angle brush. Now to set the perimeter of her face, I'm using my Fit Me pressed powder, and this one is in the shade Mocha. Going back in with that black radiance pressed powder, I'm going to be using it to set the contour on her nose. I wanted to make her cheeks pop a little bit more, so I decided to go in with some blush. And this blush is from my Juvia's Place Saharan palette. I mixed the orange one and the burgundy one together and just slightly pressed it on her cheeks. Once her cheeks are all blushed up, I'm going to take my black gel liner from the brand S.h.e. You can find it at your local beauty supply store. And I'm using it to line her waterline. And she actually did good, y'all. She did good. But I like to take it on a Q-tip just because it's quicker and easier to apply, and then the cotton part will just soak up any tear that they have forming in the corner of their eyes. So yeah, once that's finished, I'm going to be going in with the black eyeshadow, and I'm basically only going to be taking this 3/4 of the way on her lower lash line. Now I'm taking this shimmering champagne eyeshadow and I'm just applying it to the remaining areas of her under eye. That's basically going to be a base for our glitters. And once it's applied, I'm going to be going directly on top of it with my adhesive. To glue down my glitters, I like to use the I Envy Clear Lash Glue. You can find it at your local beauty supply store. And now I'm just going to be stamping the glitter on her eye using this angle brush. I purchased this glitter from Aliexpress, y'all. Y'all know I love me some Aliexpress. And the name of the vendor was Born Pretty. Yeah, Born Pretty glitter. I love this glitter so much, and it added the perfect amount of detail to this look. So now I'm just sweeping away any of the fallen glitter and all of the excess powder that I had resting on her face. I went ahead and sprayed her face off camera. Now I'm just fanning it dry, and once I have it mostly dry, I'm gonna go in and highlight. So I highlighted the tip and the bridge of her nose first. Now I'm just blending it out a little bit, and to highlight her I decided to use an eyeshadow. I love using eyeshadows to highlight. For some reason I just feel like they're more pigmented, but I'm taking the same shimmering eyeshadow that I apply under her eyes, and I'm just applying it to the high points of her face. Last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead and do her lips. So I'm outlining her lips first using this dark brown eyebrow pencil from LA Colors, and since I'm doing an ombre lip, I'm gonna outline her whole lip first and then go back in and fill in the edges. Now I'm taking a nude liquid lipstick and I'm just working it in the center of her lips using this lip applicator brush. You can find these on Amazon, but I'm going to pack this color on first, and then I'm going to have her smack her lips so the color can move around to the edges and make it a little easier to blend out. And once I have it blended in the center, I'm going to take whatever excess liquid lipstick is left on the brush and just apply it to the edge of her lip liner. Really could have left this matte, but y'all know I love glossy lips, so I'm going on top of her lips with this lip topper from the brand S.h.e. I forgot the shade name, but I'll try to see if I can have it in the description box down below. But I found this at my local beauty supply store, y'all, and it's like the best lip gloss I've ever purchased. And y'all know once I find something I like at the beauty supply store, now I gotta go back and buy the whole rack. So I'm just applying this all over her lips, and once I have that finished, I'm gonna take my sponge and use it to clean up any type of lip gloss or any lines that I may have created on the side of her lips. Now I'm just gonna spray her face with setting spray for the last time. I told y'all my girl was going out, so I had to make sure this was gonna last, okay? I just had to make sure. And once that's finished, I'm gonna go ahead and clean off her piercings as well before we get into the grand reveal. You wanna make sure if you have a client with any type of face piercings that you always clean them off, just so they don't look muddy or dirty. Sometimes I forget, but I try not to.
Alright, you ready to see? Let me see. Cause period. Cause period. Period.
As y'all can see, this tutorial was another success. My girl be so quick to pull out her phone, but this is the clip that I recorded from my phone. If you would like to see more videos from this look, feel free to go to my Instagram. A link will be in the description box. Y'all try out this look and tell me how y'all did. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next one. Bye bye.